Do you tend to kill plants?
How about plant the wrong thing at the wrong time?
Maybe learning a few key phrases will help you keep plants longer and have a successful harvest. Hey, I'm Carrie with Cultivating Wild Roots. Stick around here and we'll get you growing plants bigger, better, and more efficiently. So let's talk zones. Oftentimes I hear people say things like, hey, I'm in zone 3, so when can I start my tomatoes? I don't know. Your zone doesn't tell me when you can start things. Zones are, think of them like time zones, right? So time zones tell you what time a certain area is. And that's how temperature zones are. They tell you the coldest temperature that zone gets. So if you're in zone 3 or zone 4, you're getting like really cold into the like negatives. But if you're in zone 8 or 10, you're definitely not going to get that cold. The reason why zones are important is because they tell us which perennials that we can have in our area. So in a zone 4, you're not going to have a tropical plant because it can't handle negative 20 to 30 degrees. However, if you're in zone 10, a tropical plant will do great and you can grow that all year long. Up in zone 4, we have to kind of tweak things a little bit, and there's some plants that we just can't grow up here because they die over the winter. Now with that, we have the exception of we can bring them indoors sometimes. Now, frost dates on the other hand, those will tell me when you can start your tomatoes. So our average last frost date is May 20th. So what that means is that week of May 20th, I know that I can start putting things outside because I'm not, on average, going to have a frost after that. So let's talk frost dates. Your first frost date will come in the fall, and that will tell you the average time of when you will have a first frost in your area. Usually these are light frosts, so things like kale, lavender, those things will all survive, usually. If it gets down really, really cold and you have a hard frost, those things won't make it. Your average last frost date comes in the spring, and that tells you roughly the average last frost that you'll get in your area. So how to tell your zone or your first and last frost date, all you do is Google that. Google your average first frost, average last frost, or your zone, and then put in your zip code, and you'll know exactly when those dates are. And what I like to do is I like to put them in a journal and refer back to them every single year so that I know exactly what we have to work with. Usually I forget those times every year, so I have to have them written down so they're just quick and easy for me to look at in my garden journal. Another thing to take into consideration is your elevation, your humidity, where you live, things like that. So we have Flathead Lake that is just to the west of us, and Flathead Lake grows the best flathead cherries. They're amazing, they taste so good. But I can't grow a flathead cherry tree in my backyard. And the reason being is because where the trees live along the side of the lake, they get all of this humidity and this warmth that kind of like protects them. Where I live, I don't have all of that humidity in my backyard. So I can't grow flathead cherries in my yard. Now, I wish I could, but they are protected from the area that is around that lake. They get that warmth and that humidity and stuff like that. So that's a big reason why you can't grow pine trees on the plains of Montana. It's too windy there. And you can't grow citrus fruit in Canada outside in the wintertime. It's too cold. So those are some things to think about when you are trying to piece together, what you're gonna grow and where and why. There's a lot of things to take into consideration. Thanks for checking out Cultivating Wild Roots. Check us out on Instagram and be on the lookout for our next video. Make sure you like and subscribe down below, and we'll see you next time.